Green hopped beer. How do they make that? Around about this time of year, so we're in September, in about the middle of September, you're going to start hearing about Oktoberfest in Germany and other things like that. Here in Kent, in the south of England, where I'm from, we start gearing up for green hopped beer season. Now, when you use hops in beer, usually they are dried and they are condensed down into pellets, or the cones are dried and kilned to preserve them so they can be used throughout the year. And then that brings it right down to just the hop oils that are required in the brewing process. However, when hops are harvested, they can be taken directly off of the vine and put straight into beer. This creates a very different type of flavour and aroma. You may also hear this type of beer called wet hopped or fresh hopped beer, as the hops are picked directly in harvesting season and taken by brewers to be added directly to their brew kettles. As I said, the hops are taken from the vine. They are not on a vine. A vine grows clockwise around something. It doesn't creep out like a vine does. And hop vines grow clockwise around strings that are secured by poles in the fields. So when you're driving through the countryside in Kent, you can see these fields around, see the poles holding up the lovely green hops as they are growing towards the September season. I find it really interesting at this time of year to keep an eye on the social media of local Kent breweries, because at the beginning of September, in about the first couple of weeks, you'll see them start talking about green hop beer, and they will literally be on the phone to the local hop farmers waiting for the moment that the hops are ready. As soon as the hops are harvested, they need to be put into the beer within 24 to 48 hours. Ideally 24 hours is the amount of time that they need to be sat around before they're put into beer, but a lot of the brewers around me will have the hops into their beers within about 7 hours. I've read and spoken to brewers and heard about how they literally run to the field, get their sacks of hops and have the brew on that morning and put them straight into the brew kettle. There are some great videos from local breweries such as Wantsum, Canterbury Brewers at the Foundry, Brew Pub, Goachers, very local Kent breweries who have videos on their Facebook accounts and on their Instagrams showing these hops being put into their brew kettles. One thing about using fresh green hops is that they are more delicate in the aromas and flavours that they add to the beer. Therefore, about 5 times the amount of hops are used compared to when it is a dried product. This takes for some really interesting images of brewers just trying to jam as many hops as they can into their brew kettles to get the intensity of aroma and flavour that they want. Here in Kent, obviously we are growing local Kent, East Kent hops and British hops. The aromas and flavours in British hops are much more subtle and delicate, so it's a real balance of aromas and flavours to get what the brewer wants. The kind of flavours and aromas that you should be expecting from a green hopped beer if you get the chance to try one, and it is English hops, it's going to be fresher, it's often described as green. We're thinking hedgerow, really lovely kind of citrus and berry notes, woody, herbal notes. And because the hops have not been dried, these delicate flavours haven't been burnt off by the drying and kilning process. So you get some really delicate, beautiful flavours in the brews. I headed out to a field that isn't very far away from me and took a little bit of a video for you so you can see what these hop fields look like. Let's take a look. So in Kent, we are about to hit green hop season. As you can see behind me here is a lovely hop field. They haven't quite taken theirs down yet. We are in the middle of Kent looking at these lovely green hops. Let's take a little look at them on the vine. Right, so here they are. Here are some lovely Kent green hops. These haven't been taken down yet. There they are, all the way out there. And they are on the roadside in Kent, in Faversham. These are growing. Not sure what variety they are. As you can see, this is the rhizome, and they grow clockwise up a string, and then there are poles, here are the poles, that hold up wires that they then go to. They will then be cut down and stripped from the vine, ready to go into beer. Being Kent born and bred, I just find this season so magical. Driving past the hop fields and watching those vines grow up the strings, up the poles, is just beautiful. You get to see this lovely crisscross pattern and gradually see them flourish. It's got such history behind it, and it's such a big part of our culture here in Kent. I'm really looking forward to trying this year's green hop beers. Unfortunately, due to the current situation, the green hop beer tent at the Canterbury Food and Drink Festival isn't happening this year, but I will be finding some of those green hop beers when they are available from our local breweries. So stay tuned to the Love Beer Learning socials to see my reviews of those beers. Make sure you're following Love Beer Learning here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe below to get all of our latest beer education videos.